What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a video going over a full health and a low health no power armor heavy gun build for 2025, as well as a power armor build for heavy gunners. These are going to be builds you can take anywhere. You can use them in the boss fight, you can use them in the raid, you can use them for daily activities. It doesn't matter, they're pretty versatile. Starting out, we're going to be looking at a low health no power armor heavy weapon build. So to start off, you're going to of course want to have the heavy gunner perks in the strength tree. You are also going to want to stack up as many perks as you can in endurance. Bullet shield is probably something you're going to want to have because of the deflect chance. There's just other standard perks like nerd rage since you are low health, evade to evade damage, and serendipity and ricochet to avoid more damage, and since you're not in power armor you can use those perks. Everything in here is pretty standard. You got dodgy, adrenaline, gung fu, action boy, and agility. In perception, this is the tree you don't need really any investment in at all, so I just have concentrated fire and a rank 1 grenadier, but of course you don't need that. Looking at charisma, you're going to want to have tenderizer because every build should have tenderizer, it's just that good of a perk. And of course I have bandolier and traveling pharmacy for weight reduction. Taking a look at our legendary cards, you're going to want to have your special perk cards to give you more options with your perks, as well as taking one for the team to increase your overall damage, and since you won't be sneaking, you will be getting hit relatively often, so that will pretty much always be active. As far as what to put in your last slot, there's a couple different options. You could use funky duds, follow through if you're using something like a holy fire. You can use power armor reboot if you're using a power armor build, or you could put on something like a special perk card to get even more options for your perk points. I just didn't have anything equipped in my 6th slot just because I didn't really need to and I wouldn't really benefit from anything. Electric absorption is another good option as you can heal yourself and restore your power armor's fusion core with a 20% chance when getting hit by an energy weapon, so just an overall good perk to have. Now that we got the basics out of the way, what weapons slash armor slash mutations should you be using? So we're going to discuss just that. What should you be using? Taking a look at the armor, you can use something like the Secret Service armor, which is a heavy armor, or you can use something like Vulcan power armor if you're going to be using a power armor. Of course, these are not the end-all be-all options, but they are pretty much the best options, if not pretty solid options. It really does not matter what you use in this game, to be honest, just whatever you're comfortable with. Taking a look at the 2025 heavy weapons, the ones I prefer to use are the Gallium Plasma, of course, because it is the best. The Holy Fire is just a good overall free weapon. The 50 cal machine gun and the light machine gun are very good options as well for everyday play, as they don't have any wind-up, so you can just point and shoot, and they just feel very good to use. Taking a look at our mutations, we're using Marsupial, Eagle Eyes, Bird Bones, Speed Demon, Herbivore, and Herd Mentality, with the optional Egghead if you want to have that, and if you are playing a bloodied build, you should have Adrenal Reaction as it's just free damage. Now moving on to the full health version of this build. So there's not too many changes here. You're going to take off Serendipity as you will not be having your health lower than 25% or 30%, whatever it was, and you don't need nerd rage because of course it won't do anything for you since you're full health. So instead you could put those 5 points towards something like gunsmith or demolition expert if that's what you choose to do, or you can invest those points into something like perception if there's something in there you wanted. I can't really think of anything in there that would benefit you, but you have that option. Or you could put those 5 points into charisma and pick up something like suppressor to reduce the enemy's damage that they are doing towards you. But at the end of the day, there's really not many different options you can go with, as the remainder of perk cards for a heavy weapon build, there's just not really many good options aside from the ones that are already equipped. Which is another reason why I didn't have another legendary perk card equipped, because it really wouldn't benefit me. And that just goes to show that there's really a big drop off in perk cards after you get to a certain point, as there's not really ones that really benefit your everyday gameplay or boost your damage or really do anything meaningful to your build. That could change when they add more perk cards or change how they work with the update coming to the game soon. So something like Spiritual Healer in the Charisma tree or Packing Light in the Agility tree, they could be things that are worth running, but as it stands right now, there's really no point in using those. Another reason you want to have max points in your agility tree is because these agility perks are going to get buffed. These are going to be things like Gunslinger and Gorilla perks. And to fit those perks in, you'll just simply reduce the amount of perks you have in your agility tree already. So for example, you have Adrenaline 5, you don't need that, so you can lower that a little bit and pick up something like Gunslinger. Or you could also lower something like Gung Fu to rank 1 and pick up something else as well. So it's just kind of a build that's in preparation for the new perks, but also works perfectly with the ones we have now. So if you did make this build, you would have the flexibility to either choose the new perks or keep the ones in here if they're just what you want to use anyway. Moving on to power armor, this build can be changed from low or full health by simply swapping out Nerd Rage, as it's the only card in the build that is dependent on your health. Really the only other thing that changed is you're slotting in Stabilized and you're taking off Serendipity and Evade because they don't work in power armor. But it's a very standard build. You could move some perks around if you want to get Grenadier 2, or maybe take that point off of Grenadier entirely and move it to something like Intelligence or Charisma. There's not really too many different options you can put in here. Again, the perk cards do seem to kind of fall off, so once you hit a certain point of cards, it's kind of just move the points where you want them, but it won't really do much for you at the end of the day. So that's all I have for this video. This will just be some gameplay in the background of me defeating Ultracite Terror alone while using the bloodied version of the heavy gunner build with no power armor and defeating it with the low health power armor build that I showed off earlier. So if you want to watch that gameplay, it's here in the background. If not, feel free to leave a like or a comment if there's something you want me to check out in the future, and I'll see if I can get to that. So with all that being said, you guys take care.